Stop scrolling. This isn't a movie. This is Minneapolis right now. We are looking at a full-scale night operation against federal agents. The FBI just made a massive announcement about what's actually happening inside these groups, and it's way deeper than anyone thought. You need to see this.
In the group, "What do we do now?" Another member responding, saying, "Run. Run where?" he asks. "I don't know, out of state. I'm leaving tonight. I don't know what's happening. We're in so much trouble." Saying, "Signals not secure. Once they figure out where we were, it's only a matter of time. Flan has been exposed. We're all effed. I need to leave the state. Should I leave too? Maybe best to get out of the country."
Did you see those texts? Run. Out of state. I'm leaving tonight. That is the actual internal chat from a group called Skye Whispers, the moment they realized the FBI had flipped their signal group. They aren't just protesters. They're terrified because they know their private intel network just got exposed. Look at the timestamp on the messages. They were panicking in real time as the infiltration was confirmed. One member is even asking about fleeing to Cuba. This isn't just a local disagreement anymore. This is people realizing they've crossed a federal line and there's no going back. When you see "Flan has been exposed" in the chat, it's a direct reference to high-level state officials allegedly being linked to the coordination. This is the signal gate everyone is talking about, and it shows a level of fear we haven't seen in domestic cases in years.
It's a very interesting take. He writes, "As a former Special Forces warrant officer with multiple rotations running counterinsurgency ops, both hunting insurgents and trying to separate them from sympathetic populations, I've seen organized resistance up close from Anbar to Hellman. The pattern is familiar: spotters, cutouts, dead drops, disciplined comms, role specialization, and a willingness to absorb casualties while bleeding the stronger force slowly, DHS. What's unfolding in Minneapolis right now is not protest. It's low-level insurgency infrastructure built by people who've clearly studied the playbook." That's a good point. Who is funding all of this? Who's organizing it all? You expect us to believe all of this popped up in a matter of a few weeks? Signal groups at 1,000 member cap per zone, dedicated roles, mobile chasers, plate checkers logging vehicle data into shared databases, 24/7 dispatch nodes vectoring assets, salute-style reporting, which stands for size, activity, location, unit, time, equipment, on suspected federal vehicles, daily chat rotations, and time deletions to frustrate forensic recovery, vetting processes for new joiners, mutual aid from sympathetic locals like your teachers who are providing cover, possible PD tip-offs on license plate lookups, home-based coordination points, rapid escalation from observation to physical obstruction or worse. He says this isn't spontaneous outrage. This is commanded control with redundancy, operational security, hygiene, and task organization that would make a Special Forces team sergeant nod in recognition. Replace ICE agents with occupying coalition forces, and the structure maps almost one-to-one to early-stage urban cells we hunted in the mid-2000s. He goes on to say the most sobering part, it's domestic, funded, trained somewhere, and directed by people who live in the same country they're trying to paralyze law enforcement in. When your own citizens build and operate this level of parallel intel and rapid response network against federal officers, complete with doxing, vehicle pursuits, and harassment that's already turned lethal, you're no longer dealing with civil disobedience. You're facing a distributed resistance that's learned the lessons of successful insurgency. Stay below the kinetic threshold most of the time, force overreaction when possible, maintain popular support through narrative, and never present a single center of gravity.
This part is wild. A former Special Forces warrant officer just did a deep dive on the tactics being used on the ground, and he's calling it low-level insurgency infrastructure. Look at the terms he's highlighting: spotters, cutouts, and dead drops. This isn't stuff you learn in a standard protest. This is military-grade coordination. He's pointing out that the way these groups move, staying below the kinetic threshold while bleeding the stronger force, is identical to the insurgent cells the military hunted in the mid-2000s overseas. It's a distributed resistance model. They have specialized roles, disciplined communication, and a clear chain of command. When an expert with multiple rotations in counterinsurgency tells you the pattern is familiar, you have to pay attention. This isn't spontaneous outrage. It's a calculated, structured system designed to paralyze law enforcement.
We were just in the community of Alexandria, where the event that we had that was similar to this one was interrupted by a bunch of phones going off and people having to leave because they are trained legal observers. Being trained legal observers, I don't know if anybody's gone through that training here. If you have, I appreciate it and would encourage you to do so.
Our neighbors are being disappeared. P.S. Without due process, it is just called kidnapping. Then show up and use your voice. Put your body on the line. Put your body on the line.
Now look at this footage of Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan. She's explicitly encouraging people to become trained legal observers. On the surface, it sounds fine. But look at how it connects back to the signal groups we just saw. These observers are the ones feeding real-time locations of federal agents into the encrypted databases. She's telling people to put your body on the line. The FBI is now investigating if state resources or official endorsements were used to build the very intel network that is currently being used to track and harass federal officers. It's a massive conflict of interest. State leadership potentially backing a network that's actively trying to impede federal law. The Broom General calls and the economic blackout aren't just hashtags. They're part of a larger, state-sanctioned pushback that has turned the Twin Cities into a literal battleground between local and federal authorities.
Doesn't always work. Writing dispatch runs a maxed-out call all day telling protesters where ICE has been spotted and how they can best be impeded. For each occupation or shift position, protesters have to undergo training. Those are the more senior or more trusted positions. Here's a screen recording, he says, of their plate database with links to its instruction manual, pointing out that this quasi-police force uses salute, which is used in paramilitary operations. Look,
Check out this database they built. This is a crowdsourced list of every suspected ICE vehicle license plate in the Twin Cities. It's updated 24/7. When a federal agent moves, their plate is logged, their location is pinned, and a maxed-out call goes out to every protester in the area. They even have plate checkers who cross-reference vehicles against federal registration data. How does a civilian group get access to that? That's what the FBI is looking into right now. They use salute reporting: size, activity, location, unit, time, equipment. That is standard military intelligence reporting. This level of sophistication is exactly why the Trump administration is threatening to invoke the Insurrection Act. They're saying this isn't a city anymore. It's a controlled zone where federal agents can't move without being tracked by a shadow police force.
Were you ever ordered to stand down? Have police been told not to protect ICE?
It is deeply disappointing to have anyone question and disparage the hard work of the men and women of the Minneapolis Police Department. There are 600 police officers that are left here after the destruction of the city in 2020, and they are doing an incredible job. About a dozen of our cops have been injured responding to a lot of the chaos that has resulted on the streets. Our officers respond every time there's a threat to someone's life, to public safety, or destruction in the city. And it doesn't matter whether it's because ICE is there or someone from the community is there. We are doing everything that we can to manage this chaos, but there's only 600 cops here, and there's thousands of immigration agents here.
Finally, look at the hardware being seized. This post from Trump shows a confiscated 9mm handgun with extra magazines from a recent clash. This is what the authorities are pointing to when they say the situation has turned lethal. It's not just about signs and chanting anymore. When you have armed individuals embedded in an insurgency-style intel network, it changes the entire threat profile. The FBI is warning that this model is already starting to spread to other cities. If this infrastructure hardens, it becomes nearly impossible for federal law to be enforced without significant conflict. This is the New American Development Center clash where Alex Priddy was killed, and it's become the flashpoint for everything we're seeing. This is changing every hour. Hit follow to stay updated on the Minneapolis situation. What do you think? Is this a protest or an insurgency? Let me know.